I'm Ethan Becker, and welcome to the Total News Desk. Let's get started right away with our headlines. With many schools across America lifting their mask mandate, parents across the country are allowing their children, some as young as 9 years old, to decide whether it's safe for them to wear a mask at school or not. Representatives of both parties are still locked in negotiations over the household toy budget as well as proposed dinner plans for next week, with talks expecting to go into early April. Yes, it seems that parents are allowing their children to decide whether it's safe to wear a mask, prompting CNN to say that the children were taking their health into their own hands. Of course, we all know that young children especially are very cautious over their health and safety.
Let me see what you have! No!
After almost 4 years, the Violence Against Women Act is expected to be reenacted into law, assuming that the spending bill that it's attached to is passed. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who once supported the bill, withdrew his support and objected to it once he learned that it was actually opposed to the thing in the title. Ukrainian boxers Oleksandr Usyk and Vasily Lomachenko have gone back to their home country to join its terrestrial defense brigade. Russian forces say they aren't too worried as they've recruited a boxer of their own. Former actress Cameron Diaz said recently in an interview that she no longer cares what she looks like. Unfortunately, this quote was not relayed properly to CNN, who, while reporting on the interview, thought it necessary to remind the viewer that she was still attractive. This headline caught some amount of backlash, not least of which from former White House executive Steve Bannon, who complained that the best CNN could come up with in any report on him was that he was still breathing. Disney CEO Bob Chapek recently spoke with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over the state's Don't Say Gay Act, which, if passed into law, would prevent teachers from talking about homosexuality in schools. Those familiar with the conversation say Chapek was most concerned with the fact that losing gays would lose Disney about 90% of their audience. And finally, the Florida State Congress has passed a new voting overhaul bill, which will, among other things, establish a new election security office and impose stricter regulations against those found violating Florida state election laws. Critics of the bill have called it a scaled-back version of Governor DeSantis' election police force, which he proposed last year, while proponents of the bill have said that the police force will be composed of many varied individuals from across different demographics, and we are actually just now getting in that the police force has already gotten 2 tanks and assaulted an unarmed black man. Florida residents say everything is going according to plan. And that's all the time we have for headlines today, and now it's time for our main story. For our main story today, we do unfortunately have to keep talking about Florida. Very much America's middle child. Now, for many of you, Florida may simply be the state that, due to how its criminal reporting works, gives us a wide variety of crazy stories every month, such as this Florida man who told the police he was high and happy featuring his real mugshot, another Florida man who got naked and humped a tree and then punched a deputy, a story which, although probably better than the other way around, is far less funny, or this Florida man who repeatedly called the police to ask for ice cream and liquor. Or is it this Florida woman who allegedly gave birth to a baby alligator? A story so crazy, but so believable in the context of these other stories that you probably didn't know that I just made it up. But don't worry, it is fairly close to this real Florida maternity photo. Now, I don't know what I like best about that photo. If it's the fact that the husband seems to just be holding a bunch of random garbage, the fact that they thought Bud Light is the beer that represents Florida when we all know it's Steel Reserve, or is it the fact that there is a gun pointed just directly at the couple? I just don't know. All I do know is that it is Florida's next state flag. Now, unfortunately, we can't keep talking about these Florida stories as much as I personally would like to. Because, sadly, Florida has recently gone and done the thing that Florida is also famous for, making horrible decisions surrounding the COVID-19 virus.
The Florida Department of Health is going to be the first state to officially recommend against the COVID-19 vaccines for healthy children.
Yes, that is Florida State General, the man charged with keeping the entire state healthy and alive, telling parents that they should not give their healthy children the COVID vaccine. Now, there are a lot of problems with this, and trust me, we're going to get into a lot of them. But the biggest one is we don't really have a definition of what healthy is. And while it may seem simple enough to define, the truth is that it can actually be the exact opposite. According to a study done by the Journal of the American Medical Association, over 60% of patients under the age of 20 who tested positive for COVID were asymptomatic. This is almost 6 points higher than the next highest subgroup. And, according to Harvard Medical School, While children were less likely to experience severe COVID symptoms, the virus could lead to them developing multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, which is a life-threatening condition. In fact, according to the CDC, 30 children just this year have died from the COVID virus or from complications surrounding the COVID virus. And if your response to that number is, well, 30 isn't that high, then congratulations. We found him. We found the one person on the internet who shouldn't have a fucking opinion. The problem with children contracting the COVID virus isn't just the children themselves getting sick. Children are just as capable of spreading the virus as adults. And Florida, while being 11th in cases per 1 million people, is 3rd in the country in total deaths and 21st in percent of the population who are currently fully vaccinated, at just over 60%. If your main response to this is, what can I do to help? Luckily, there are a few things that you can do. First off, you can make sure that you and everybody in your household are vaccinated. This is only a recommendation from the state, not a law. And you can show that you don't agree with the law by making sure everybody in your house is vaccinated. And if you are a resident of the state of Florida, you can call and write to Governor DeSantis' office. Politicians have shown time and time again that they are not willing to listen to experts. However, many of them may be willing to listen to voters. Now is your chance to step up and make sure that the state of Florida is safe. If you are a resident of the state of Florida, please consider going and doing this, so that Florida men everywhere can go back to giving unlicensed Botox treatments while drinking Four Locos in peace, as God intended. That's all for the Total News Desk. Thank you, and stay safe.